Okay, so I want to get right into looking at variables. Um, I started I started our virtual machine. I logged in with student, and now I am here on our desktop. Um, I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code, but before I do that, I'm going to open up the IDIA 618 workspace. So remember this, we talked about this. This is the first, this is our folder. I'm going to right click and create a folder. I'm going to call it week, I have my caps lock on, sorry. Week 02 underscore practice, because we'll probably end up creating one called week 02 underscore homework or something like that. Okay, so all right, so now I have week 02 practice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code. I think I am. There we go. I am going to use this Explorer. Kind of has to load in. Sorry about that. Closing this. I'm going to File, go to File. I'm going to open a folder. And it's going to pop up a dialog box here in a second. Okay, I'm going to open up week 02 practice. It's loading. Great, and as we notice, there is no files there, so we can go ahead and add a file. In this case, I'm going to call it strings.php. Why am I calling it strings? Because this video is going to be about strings. It's going to pop up. It should be a lot faster for you. Again, my computer is running emulation, so it makes it a little bit slower for it. Let's make that wider. All right, let's see where this gets us. All right, strings.php, and then of course it starts to open it for us. So whenever we do anything with PHP, the first thing we do with our code is we have to start it with a bracket. I'm sorry, it's really called a less than. Yeah, it's an alligator. So this is how I teach it. I call it alligators. It is an open alligator, question mark, because that's kind of what we're all doing with our cells right now is, what are we doing? Then the word PHP. Now, mine popped up for me. So that is part of the benefit of using something. This is called an integrated development environment. Like it knew that I wanted to do PHP. So then I hit return a couple times. Then I do the other. I'm just going to dismiss this. If you get that, I'm sorry. Just dismiss it. Um, I'm going to then close it with a question mark and the other alligator. Okay? So the alligators are on your keyboard down by the alligators are on the keyboard down here. Okay. That's not the view I had. Where is it? I have to get used to my tools again. I'm very sorry. Okay. So then we have how can we do strings? Well, or how do we set up a variable? It's very simple. You do a $sign and then you type what you want the variable to be. Just like what I said with file names. I said no capitals, no spaces. Um, you can actually have capitals in variable names, but you cannot have spaces. So some places make, like, let's say the variable is username, they will capitalize the N so that as you're reading it, it makes a lot of sense to you. And that is called camel caps because it looks like a camel's humps. So anyway, I'm going to do that with this. I'm going to say username equals Greg. You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do Buddy. I'm feeling nostalgic for Buddy. And then I have to do a semicolon. Every line, for the most part, ends with a semicolon in PHP. Okay, are you able to see that well enough? I will see if I can't make this a little bigger for you. Okay, so actually a little bigger. All right, so PHP username equals buddy. Now, if I were to run this script right now, and I've saved it, if I were to run this script right now, guess what would happen? Close this copilot. Nothing. Nothing would happen at all. Why is nothing happening? Because we're not asking it to do anything. We're just setting a variable. We have to do something with it. And the best way to do something is to print out um, some text. Now, we're going to print using a very simple command, and it looks like this. We're going to do an echo command. So we type ECHO, sorry, ECHO space $. Now, if yours goes faster, like it popped up username because it knows that we defined username before, we're going to hit that. Or you can just type it. We're going to do a semicolon at the end, okay? I'm going to save it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run it. How can I run it? Open up my terminal. I'm going to type CD. I'm going to get to this thing. I'm going to drag and drop that folder like we did in our first class. I'm going to hit return. That's so funny. You have to click in here and hit return. I'm going to do ls for list. I'm going to cd week 02 underscore practice. Hit return. I'm going to ls see what's in it and strings.php. Now let's go ahead and write. Let's execute it by typing php space strings.php. And it printed the word buddy right there on the line. We're going to get to cleaning some stuff up. But yeah, that is one that worked. Okay, so we were able to set a string and we were able to set the value and put that there. So what's the next step of using strings? Well, the next step of strings and variables is to combine strings together. So let's try this. Okay, so instead of echoing username, echo hello, comma, space, quote, I think it's dot. Yep. So what this does, this dot is called a concatenator. Concatenating is where you take multiple strings and you put them together into one string, right? So it says echo hello username. So let's save that. I know it's saved because that's just an X now. I go over here. I'm going to actually press up on my keyboard because that just repeats the last thing I typed. You don't have to do that. You can just type PHP strings again if you want to, but this just saves some time. I hit return, and it says, hello, buddy. Okay, we're getting somewhere. If this is too much text for you, you can always type the word clear, and it clears it back. But you can always press up multiple times. That's clear. That's PHP strings. Hello, buddy. Okay. Now, we probably want to do something a little bit more sophisticated than that, and we might want to do dot or concatenate, quote, exclamation point. And I can save that. I hit the wrong button on my keyboard. I am very sorry. Save that. Run that. And now we have hello, buddy, exclamation point. This almost looks like a regular kind of like computer text. The other thing we can do is we can create, let's say, a variable called user species, and we're going to equal cat, semicolon. User species equals cat. What can I do with that now? Well, you're not limited to one sort of variable, per line. I could also write something like dot user species and then add another dot. So it looks something like that. Hello, username, user species. Now, this one's not going to look good because there's a few things that we're missing, but let's take a look at what it does so you understand what concatenating does. It said, hello, buddy cat, right? Like it put buddy and cat together because that's what concatenation does, is it puts the strings together. If you want spaces, you have to add spaces to the strings. If you want something else, you have to add that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to change it from just buddycat to username dot quote first string the, put a dot for a concatenate, right? Hello, let's just say buddy the cat. Now, one thing that there's no spaces here, so it'll say buddy the cat. Just getting you ready for that. Yep. Hello, buddy the cat. If we want spaces, we need to put those into our string. So I'm putting those into the string. I'm saving it. I use Control S for saving. Just I'm a shortcut fan. I do enough with computers that I know that little things can save a lot of time. That's why I right click with my mouse or I do Control S to save. All right, so I'm gonna push up for PHP strings, hit return. hello, Buddy the cat. Okay? Now, if I need to change this, it's super easy. I might change this to Pete, and the species could be dragon. Now, I'm capitalizing this one. I didn't capitalize cat. That is probably something you're going to notice. Through the semester, we're going to learn like different functions and such that we can do to um, strings in order to like maybe capitalize the first letter or capitalize all the letters or lowercase all the letters, etc. Okay, so I'm going to save that. I'm going to clear it. I'm going to run it. Hello, Pete the Dragon. Now, one of the things you should be noticing is that it always prints and then immediately the prompt goes right after it. There's a way we can clean that up. It really only matters in like a prompt thing, and that is at the end of our line we put /n. We put /n because /n is a special character in strings. This is not just PHP. This is in JavaScript. It's in raw code, in ASCII, all these different things that involve text. People will put a /n, and that means new line. Okay, so I'll show you what happens when we save that. It doesn't print a character that a human can read, but it prints a character that the computer can read, and it works on that. So I have /n, I saved it, push up, and it says, hello, Pete the Dragon. And then it goes to a new line, and then the prompt is there. I ran it again, same thing. It's going to be very consistent. Um, so that's cool. So that is strings, and that is concatenation. So let's move on to our next variable type that we need to be concerned with.